I never thought I'd be standing here again, staring at my parents' front door after all these years. My name's Bella, and this house holds memories I've tried hard to forget. My phone feels heavy in my pocket, still warm from my mom's unexpected call asking me to come over urgently. Behind me, my car sits in the driveway, and I can't help but think about my 9-year-old daughter, Emma, who I just dropped off at my friend Sarah's place. "It'll only take a couple of hours," I had told Emma, trying to sound more confident than I felt. The last time I properly spoke to my parents was at my grandmother's funeral 3 years ago. Before that, it was that terrible day when I was 18, when they chose my sister Lisa over me. I still remember standing in this very spot, tears streaming down my face as they told me they were giving my college fund to Lisa for her wedding. "But it's my education," I had screamed. "Your sister needs a proper wedding," Mom had said firmly. "You can take out student loans like everyone else." I left that day and never really came back. My grandmother was the only one who stood by me. She helped me pay for community college, not the prestigious university I dreamed of, but it was something. I worked hard, got my degree, and built my own life. The years that followed were a blur of determination and small victories. I met Jack, my ex-husband, during my final year of college. We got married, had Emma, and for a while, everything seemed perfect. Even after our divorce 2 years ago, things stayed civilized. Jack pays good alimony, and we both put Emma first. Now, at 36, I'm doing okay. The apartment I bought with my inheritance from Grandma, God bless her soul, brings in steady rental income. Between that, the alimony, and my part-time job at Marshall and Associates, I can afford to spend plenty of time with Emma. Taking a deep breath, I finally ring the doorbell. Whatever they want, I tell myself I'm not that scared 18-year-old anymore. "Bella, you came?" Mom opens the door, and her enthusiasm catches me off guard. She looks older than I remember, more gray in her hair, more lines around her eyes. Dad stands behind her, attempting a smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. "Where's Emma?" Mom asks, peering around me. "We haven't seen her since." "She's at a friend's." I cut her off, stepping inside. "You said it was urgent?" The house smells the same, Mom's vanilla air freshener mixing with Dad's coffee. They lead me to the living room, and I notice how everything looks slightly worn down. The fancy furniture they bought for Lisa's wedding is showing its age. "Would you like some tea?" Mom asks, wringing her hands. "Just tell me why you called," I say, remaining standing. "It's been years, and suddenly it's urgent." Mom starts crying, not the quiet tears I remember from my childhood, but deep, body-shaking sobs. Dad puts his arm around her, and I feel my stomach tighten. "We're going to lose the house," he finally says. I wait, knowing there's more. There's always more with them. "Your sister," Mom begins, and I feel that familiar twist in my gut. Of course, it's about Lisa. She asked us to take out a business loan for her husband. For Tom's business. We used the house as collateral. "Let me guess," I say, my voice flat. "Lisa is not paying." "Tom's business went bankrupt," Dad explains, looking everywhere but at me. "Lisa and the kids are struggling. They've stopped making payments, and we can't cover it ourselves." I start laughing, and they both look at me like I've lost my mind. Maybe I have. "So, you called me? The daughter you abandoned? The one whose education fund you gave away to bail you out of another mess Lisa created." "We know you're doing well," Mom says quickly, wiping her eyes. "Your apartment, the rental income. We wouldn't ask if we weren't desperate." I stand there, looking at these people who chose my sister over me at every turn, who didn't even send me a wedding invitation, who barely acknowledged me at my grandmother's funeral because Lisa was pregnant. "I'll think about it," I hear myself say, and I'm as surprised as they are. I need to pick up Emma. As I drive away, I can't shake the feeling that I'm about to make either the biggest mistake or the most important decision of my life. Either way, nothing would ever be the same again. "Mom, why are you crying?" Emma asks as soon as I pick her up from Sarah's house. "My daughter has always been perceptive. Too perceptive sometimes." I quickly wipe my eyes, not even realizing I'd been crying during the drive. "Just thinking about some stuff, sweetie. I say, trying to sound casual. Actually, I saw your grandparents today. Emma's eyes light up instantly. Really? The ones from the pictures? Can I meet them? Of course she'd want to meet them. They were her grandparents, even if they'd never bothered to be part of her life. I spend the next week wrestling with my thoughts, barely sleeping, playing out every possible scenario in my head. You're insane, Sarah tells me over coffee. After everything they did? Maybe I am, I admit. But Emma deserves a chance to know her grandparents. And honestly, maybe I need this too, to finally face it all. So, a week later, I find myself driving back to my parents' house, this time with Emma bouncing excitedly in the passenger seat. The reunion is strange. Mom bursts into tears again. Dad just stands there awkwardly before Emma breaks the ice by running up and hugging them both. They look shocked, then delighted. And for a moment, I see genuine joy in their eyes. The kind I used to see directed at Lisa. We spend the afternoon there, and I watch as Emma charms them completely. She shows them her drawings, tells them about school, about her friends, about the time she won the spelling bee. They listen to every word. And I see something I hadn't expected, regret in their eyes when they look at me. That evening, as Emma chatters happily about her grandparents on the drive home, I make my decision. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm setting myself up for more hurt. But I'm going to help them. The next day, I call my real estate agent and arrange to rent out my apartment again. Then I call Mom. I'll help with the loan payments, I say before I can change my mind. I'm moving in with Emma. The rental income from my apartment will go toward the loan payments. I'll help with bills too, but we need to set some boundaries. There is silence on the other end. Then Mom starts crying again. Thank you, Bella. Thank you so much. Within 2 weeks, Emma and I move in. I buy new appliances for the house, a fancy refrigerator with an ice maker that Emma loves, a dishwasher that actually works, and a washing machine that doesn't sound like it's about to explode. Dad's back problems improve once he doesn't have to hand wash dishes anymore. And Mom seems genuinely happy to have us there. Life falls into a surprisingly comfortable routine. Over the next few months, Mom starts making breakfast for everyone. Despite my initial reservations, I have to admit, it's nice coming downstairs to fresh coffee and pancakes. She picks Emma up from school, helps her with homework, and even starts teaching her to bake, something I never had the patience for. Dad switches to part-time work, his constant backaches finally getting better with less physical strain. He teaches Emma how to play chess, something I'd never learned. Their weekly matches become a tradition. I find myself working more hours at the office, knowing Emma is well taken care of. One day, Mrs. Thompson, my boss, calls me into her office. We've been noticing your increased dedication lately. How would you feel about a promotion? The new position means more money, but also more responsibility, including regular business trips to other states. In the past, I would have turned it down immediately. Single mom. No support system. It wouldn't have worked. But now, I'll take it, I say, surprising myself with how confident I feel. The first time I have to leave for a business trip, I'm a nervous wreck. 3 days in Chicago feels like an eternity. She'll be fine, I tell myself. Probably 100 times. And she is. Mom sends me pictures, Emma doing homework, having dinner, playing with Dad. It works. But there are moments, little things that make me uneasy. Like when Mom gets phone calls from Lisa and disappears into her room, emerging with red eyes. Or when I find bank transfer notifications on Mom's phone while setting up her new tablet. Money going to Lisa's account. She needs help sometimes. Mom defends when I confront her about it. She's going through a rough patch with Tom. Mom, I'm paying all your bills and the loan that Lisa defaulted on. How is it fair that you're sending her money? You don't understand. Mom snaps, suddenly defensive. Lisa is not to blame for Tom's business failing. She has 2 children to feed. And I have 1 child and all your bills to pay. I shoot back. But Mom has already turned away, shutting down the conversation. Like she always does when it comes to Lisa. These arguments become more frequent. But I try to ignore them. Emma is happy. I'm advancing in my career. And most days, it feels like we're healing old wounds. Dad even apologizes one night after a few glasses of wine. for what happened with my college fund. We made mistakes, he says, staring into his glass. Big ones. I want to say more. To finally have the conversation we've been avoiding for 18 years. But Mom quickly changes the subject to Emma's upcoming school play. 3 years pass this way. Emma turns 12, looking more grown up every day. I get used to my new role at work, traveling every few weeks but always coming home to a happy daughter. The loan payments are steady. The bills are paid. Life is stable. Then comes that Tuesday evening. I remember it was Tuesday because I had just closed a big deal in Phoenix and caught an early flight home, wanting to surprise Emma. I hear voices from the driveway. Too many voices. Opening the front door, I step into chaos. There, sprawled on my parents' couch, the one I just had reupholstered last month, is Lisa. Beside her are two kids I recognize from photos but have never met, my niece and nephew. Suitcases are scattered around the living room. Lisa is tapping away on her phone, barely looking up as I enter. "Oh," she says, her tone making it clear I'm interrupting something. "Look who's here." And just like that, I know everything is about to change again. Only this time, I'm not that naive 18-year-old. And I'm not going to let history repeat itself. "I left Tom," Lisa announces lazily from the couch, as if commenting on the weather. "He's a complete loser. We'll be staying here now." I stand there, my work bag still in hand, trying to process what I'm hearing. My parents sit in their usual chairs, looking everywhere but at me. The kids, my niece, Anna, 10, and nephew, Michael, 6, are sprawled on the floor, watching TV on their tablets. "You'll be staying here?" I repeat slowly. "In the house where I pay all the bills? And the loan that you defaulted on?" Lisa's face flushes red. "Oh, here we go. Miss Perfect with her money and her job. Some of us have actual problems, Bella. Actual problems." I can feel my blood pressure rising. Like taking out a huge loan in our parents' name and then not paying it? That kind of problem. "Girls, please," Mom interrupts, finally finding her voice. She said, "We're family. We need to stick together in times like these." I let out a harsh laugh. Funny how family becomes important when you need something. Where was this family spirit when you gave away my college fund? Or when you didn't even invite me to Lee's wedding? That was years ago. Mom snapped. "Why can't you let it go? Your sister needs us now." The next few weeks were tense. Lisa sprawled on the couch all day, texting and watching TV. Her kids ran wild through the house, making messes they never cleaned up. But what really got to me was how my parents changed. Suddenly, Emma was invisible to them. When she tried to show Grandma her math test, where she got an A, Mom just waved her away, too busy helping Michael with his video game. When Emma asked Dad for their weekly chess match, he said he was too tired, right before spending 2 hours playing catch with Anna in the backyard. One evening, after Emma went to bed, I confronted Mom. "What's going on? Why are you treating Emma differently?" "Don't be ridiculous," Mom dismissed me. "Emma's older. She doesn't need as much attention. Anna and Michael are younger. They need more support right now." "Support?" "Emma's 12. She needs her grandparents too." But Mom had already turned away, hurrying to answer Lisa's call for more snacks. 2 months crawled by. I threw myself into work, taking extra projects just to avoid being home. Lisa still hadn't looked for a job, and my parents seemed fine with it. Every time I brought it up, they defended her. "She's going through a difficult time," Dad would say. "She has the children to think about," Mom would add. Meanwhile, I was still paying for everything, the loan, the bills, the groceries that disappeared twice as fast now. But money wasn't what bothered me most. It was watching Emma become a ghost in her own home. Then came that Wednesday. I had come home early, hoping to take Emma for ice cream, our little escape when things got too tense at home. I heard the shouting before I even opened the front door. "You lazy, good-for-nothing brat." Lisa's voice echoed through the house. "Look at this mess. Clean it up right now." I rushed inside to find Lisa standing over Emma, who was on her knees, picking up scattered toys, Michael's toys. "What's going on here?" I demanded. "Your precious princess refuses to help around the house," Lisa spat. "She thinks she's too good to clean up after her cousins." I looked at the toys again. You mean your kids' mess? Where are they, by the way? They're napping. Someone has to keep this house in order. And since you're never here, I'm never here because I'm working. I exploded. Unlike some people who lie around all day expecting everyone else to support them. The argument that followed was ugly. Lisa ran to our parents, crying about how I was bullying her. And of course, they took her side. Bella, you need to be more understanding, Mom pleaded. Lisa's children. What about my child? I interrupted. What about Emma? But they didn't answer. They never did when it came to choosing between Lisa and me. I thought that was bad. I had no idea what was coming. The following week, I had to fly to Seattle for an emergency meeting with a client. It was only supposed to be for 5 days. You'll be okay? I asked Emma for the 100th time at breakfast. I'll be fine, Mom, she assured me, trying to smile. I've got my phone. We can video chat every night. 4 days into my trip, around 9 p.m. Seattle time, my phone rang. Emma's picture flashed on the screen. Mom. Her voice was small, broken by sobs. Mom, I'm outside. Lisa kicked me out. She said I was in the way. I only have my phone. I didn't know what to do. The world stopped spinning. My 12-year-old daughter was on the street. At night. Alone. With shaking hands, I called Sarah, my friend who lived nearby. Please, I begged. Can you pick up Emma? She's outside my parents' house. Then I called Lisa. She answered on the 5th ring, sounding annoyed. Oh, did the princess call you? She sneered. Maybe now she'll learn not to be so obstinate. Always arguing, always thinking she's better than everyone else. I hung up and called my parents. Mom answered. Your granddaughter is on the street, I said, my voice ice cold. Did you know that? Did you watch while Lisa threw her out? There was a pause. Then Mom's voice hardened. Maybe it's better this way, Bella. Maybe you and Emma should find somewhere else to live. You don't really fit here anymore. In that moment, everything became crystal clear. Some things never change. Some people never change. You're right, Mom, I said quietly. We don't fit there. We never did. I hung up and booked the first flight home. It was time to end this cycle once and for all. The flight home was the longest 5 hours of my life. Sarah sent me updates about Emma every half hour, but I couldn't rest until I could hold my daughter in my arms. When I finally got to Sarah's house at 3 a.m., Emma was asleep on the couch, tear tracks still visible on her cheeks. She told me what happened, Sarah whispered as I stroked Emma's hair. Bella, it's worse than you think. According to Emma, Lisa had been treating her like a servant for weeks, making her clean the house, cook for Lisa's kids, do their laundry. When Emma finally stood up to her, saying she needed to study for a test, Lisa lost it. Get out. Lisa had screamed. Get out of my house. It's not your house, Emma had replied. My mom pays for everything. That's when Lisa grabbed Emma's arm and physically pushed her toward the door. My parents watched it happen. They watched and did nothing. I let Emma sleep and spent the night making calls. First, to my rental agency, explaining the situation and asking them to help me end the current tenant's lease early. Then, to my lawyer, asking about my rights regarding the appliances and furniture I bought for my parents' house. Finally, to a moving company. The next morning, I took Emma to breakfast at her favorite diner. Baby, I need you to be honest with me, I said, watching her pick at her pancakes. Has this happened before? Has Lisa hurt you before? Emma's silence told me everything. She said I was spoiled. Emma finally whispered that I thought I was better than her kids. Grandma said the same thing, that I needed to learn my place. My hand shook as I gripped my coffee cup. Why didn't you tell me? Because you seemed happy, Em said, looking up at me with those wise eyes that sometimes made me forget she was only 12. You were smiling more. And Grandma and Grandpa, sometimes they were nice when Aunt Lisa wasn't around. I reached across the table and took her hand. Listen to me, Emma. Nothing, absolutely nothing, is more important to me than you. Not my parents, not their house, not any of it. We're going home to our apartment, and this time, We're staying there. After breakfast, we drove to my parents' house. Lisa's car was gone, probably on one of her mysterious errands that never seemed to involve job hunting. Mom opened the door, surprise flickering across her face when she saw me. Bella, we didn't expect you back so soon. I walked past her without a word, Emma's hand firmly in mine. The moving crew I'd hired was already waiting outside. Take everything I bought, I instructed them. The refrigerator, washing machine, dishwasher, the new couch, the TV. I went through the house, pointing at every item I'd purchased over the past 3 years. You can't do this. Mom's voice rose in panic. We need those things. Actually, I can, I replied calmly, handing the movers my proof of purchase for each item. I bought them. They're mine. Dad came home while the movers were working. He stood in the doorway, watching as they dismantled the entertainment system I had bought last Christmas. Bella, he started, but I cut him off. Don't. Just don't. You watched Lisa throw your granddaughter out on the street. You chose Lisa over me again. And this time, you chose her over Emma too. We're done. But, Bella, Mom's voice quivered. The bills. I turned to face them both. You'll have to figure that out yourselves. Just like I had to figure out college on my own. Just like Emma had to figure out how to survive being kicked out of her home at night. Consider this my final payment for all the times you chose Lisa over me. The next few months were interesting. My parents and Lisa didn't go down without a fight. The calls started the very next day, first from Mom, then Dad, then Lisa, then back to Mom. They left voicemails ranging from angry accusations to tearful pleas. The text messages were worse. Screenshots of their overdue bills, photos of Lisa's kids looking sad, guilt trip attempts about how they might lose the house. Mom even sent pictures of my old bedroom, as if that would somehow change my mind. Why don't you answer them? Emma asked one evening as my phone buzzed with another message. We were sitting on our apartment's balcony, sharing a pizza and watching the sunset. Our apartment felt different now, smaller than my parents' house, but somehow more spacious, without the weight of their expectations. Because we don't owe them anything, I replied. Sometimes, the best response is no response at all. Emma nodded, understanding in her eyes. I miss Grandpa's chess game sometimes, she admitted. But not how they made me feel when Aunt Lisa came. I pulled her close. We can get you chess lessons if you want. You can learn from someone who won't stop playing with you just because your cousin shows up. Weeks turned into months. Through the family grapevine, I heard updates about my parents' situation. They had gone back to working full-time, struggling to pay their bills. The bank was threatening foreclosure because they couldn't make the loan payments. Lisa still wasn't working, still complaining about me to anyone who would listen. I used the money I'd been spending on my parents' bills to take Emma on weekend trips instead. We visited theme parks, went hiking, took cooking classes together. Without the constant drama of my parents' house, I could focus more on my work while actually spending quality time with my daughter. Emma's grades improved without Lisa's kids interrupting her study time. She joined the school chess club and made new friends. Sometimes, I caught her looking at old photos from our time at my parents' house, but she never asked to go back. One Sunday morning, almost a year after we'd left, I was making breakfast when Emma came into the kitchen looking thoughtful. Mom, are you happy now? I stopped whisking the eggs and really thought about it. Was I happy? Happy that I'd walked away from a toxic situation? Happy that I protected my daughter? Happy that I'd finally broken free from the pattern of always putting Lisa first? Yes, I said finally. I am. Are you? Emma smiled. That bright, unworried smile I hadn't seen in years. Yeah. I like it being just us. Later that day, I deleted all my parents' numbers from my phone. I kept their voicemails, though, stored in a folder labeled Never Again. A reminder of why we left, in case I ever started to doubt myself. I heard through relatives that the bank finally foreclosed on my parents' house. They moved into a small apartment, and Lisa found someone else to mooch off, her new boyfriend, apparently. Sometimes I wonder if they ever really understood what they did wrong. Or if they're still telling themselves that I'm the selfish one. But honestly, I don't care anymore. Emma and I might be a small family, but we're a real one. We travel when we want, laugh when we want, and never have to apologize for taking up space in our own home. The money I used to spend on my parents' bills now goes into Emma's college fund. And this time, nobody's going to give it away for someone else's wedding.